Good morning, children. This is your science period, and we are in chapter 1. And today is the sixth part of the same chapter. I hope, children, you all remember this is nutrition in plants. So, children, yesterday we have studied about the symbiotic relationship where we found that both the organisms they depend on each other and both are benefited. One is providing food and the other one is providing shelter to the organism. So, now today we'll start up with a new topic, and that is how the nutrients are replenished in the soil. Children, as you know, continuously when we keep on using the same soil, what happens? The nutrients that are present within that soil, they get washed off, they get finished off. So, to replenish them, you might have seen the farmers, they spray the manures or the fertilizers in their field or even in the gardens or the lawns so as to enrich the soil, so as the plant that we grow will grow properly and nicely and will be yielding more. So, children, this is how the farmers they spray the pesticides, the chemicals, which are your fertilizers and also your manures. Now you have learned that plants absorb the minerals and the nutrients from the soil. So their amount in the soil keeps on declining. Fertilizers and the manures, these contain the nutrients such as the elements such as your nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc., which are required by the plants for their growth. These nutrients, which are needed to be added from time to time into the soil so as to enrich it, so we can grow plants and keep them healthy and we can have more yield. We can fulfill these nutrients requirements into the plant by the following ways. So here what we do is we are spraying fertilizers. We are putting manure into the soil. Usually crop plants, they absorb a lot of nitrogen and the soil becomes deficient in the nitrogen. So, to overcome that, you have already learned that nitrogen gas, which is available in plenty in the air, plants which cannot use it in the same manner, so they can use carbon dioxide as they are using for the photosynthesis process. They need nitrogen in a soluble form which is present within the atmosphere. So for that, these soil which contain the bacterium called rhizobium converts this atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms. Children, if you remember, when we were talking previously in the chapter, we have talked about the bacterium called the rhizobium, which fixes the atmospheric nitrogen. But since this rhizobium, they cannot make their own food, so they are found in the roots of the leguminous plants such as gram, peas, moong, bean, and others, and thus provide the soil with the nitrogen. In return, the plant provides the food and the shelter to these bacteria. Thus, these are the picture of your leguminous yield crops, you can say, the beans and all, and this is the rhizobium bacteria which is found in the root nodules. So these leguminous plant along with the rhizobium, they undergo a relationship called symbiotic relationship. This association, as you know, is of great significance for the farmer. Now here they can reduce the use of the nitrogenous fertilizers where the leguminous plants are grown. So if you have heard of the crop rotation, for this only crop rotation is practiced. Most of the pulses, that is all your dals, which are obtained from these leguminous plants. So, one season the main crop is grown, and the other season the farmers grow the leguminous plants. In this chapter, you have learned that most of these plants, which are autotrophs in nature, that means they can prepare their own food, but there are few plants which are parasitic or heterotrophic, that means they cannot prepare their own food, and even some are saprotrophic, so they derive their nutrition from the other plants, other autotrophs. So here comes the kingdom king fungi as well as your lichens. Okay, so all these they depend on the other autotrophs for their food. These are the picture of your lichens, and previously we have seen the picture of your fungi. So from the other organisms, as I said, these are your autotrophs. All the animals are categorized as heterotrophs since they are depending on these plants and the other animals for their food. Now children, can you answer the question that insectivorous plants are partially heterotrophs? Yes, of course. Insectivorous plants, they have chlorophyll. They can make their own food, but they grow in nitrogen deficient areas. So they depend on the insects. By taking these insects, they fulfill the nitrogen for the protein synthesis. Hence, they are considered to be partial heterotrophs because they are depending on these insects for overcoming their nitrogen. Children, this is your picture plant. This is the sundew plant. So here you can see this is how the pitcher plant, the Venus flytrap, and the sundew plant, which are all your insectivorous plants, they have both modes of nutrition, that is heterotrophic as well as autotrophic mode of nutrition. So all the insectivorous plants, they are considered to be under your heterotrophs as well as your autotrophs because they are green in color, they undergo the process of photosynthesis, and secondly they depend on the insects for fulfilling their nitrogenous substance. Hope so children you have understood with the topic. So your home assignment questions: why do farmers spray fertilizers in the field? Second one, what are leguminous plants? Third one, how leguminous plants overcome the deficiency of nitrogen. So, with this, we finish off with the chapter. Hope so you have understood. Bye bye, Sairam.